Hi, and welcome to Syrup Shots Gaming. I'm Tyler, and with me is Dave.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Mortal Kombat!
Dun, 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 dun,
Or
dun,
stop there,
dun,
or we'll
dun.
get sued.
Oh yeah, good point. Wait, the Immortals are still around?
Oh,
That band from 1995?
they did a remix for this movie.
Oh yeah, they did. That was cool. The orchestral. All right,
That's
I'll keep them
one,
out.
but they also did a new techno one for the movie.
Oh sweet.
It's on iTunes. Listen, or
Oh,
whatever music thing you use.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. So, welcome to Syrup Shots Gaming. Each week we talk about a different gaming topic. This week it's Mortal Kombat. New movie came out, and we just wanted to take a moment to talk about our history, some of our favorite stuff, some of the dumb stuff. Just have a good time with it. But before we get into Mortal Kombat, normally we do what we've been playing, but it's been a busy week. Have you gotten to play
yeah.
much, Dave?
Um, no, and it's to the point though that I'm half tempted that when I start up Devil May Cry 5 again, I might just restart it because I'm only like 3 levels in.
Fair.
So it's one of those things where I think people keep posting online that adults need the comeback feature for gaming now. And
Right.
whenever you log back out in a game you haven't played in a while, it just gets you readjusted. This is the plot to this point, and here are the controls again. Ah, great.
There's actually a game that does that.
Oh yeah,
Dragon Quest XI.
nice.
So every time you boot it up, it gives you a little summary of the last big plot points,
Oh, excellent.
and
That's a really good.
everything. Yeah, and everything is on the screen in terms of commands.
I do like that the RPGs have been doing that. I mean, Persona 5 didn't start out and just be like, here's what happened since you last left off, but it had the journal where you can
Yep.
kind of read the major story beats. So those are always nice.
Oh, 100%.
Yakuza Zero did that too. And it also like updated character backstories as you learned information. So that was nice too.
Nice. Yeah, about the only thing I've been playing this week has been playing some online Mortal Kombat 11.
I
Uh,
gotcha.
just kind of getting into the feel for it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, I had one match that was so good between a Scorpion and I was playing Sub Zero that the dude friended me
You
afterwards.
were
Like,
playing
dude,
Sub Zero? Wow.
so Scorpion is still my favorite character, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically in Mortal Kombat 11, I
Yeah.
feel Sub Zero has more mobility.
I gotcha.
Particularly, I could go into the fine details of his forward kick, which is really just the axe bring down, followed by
Mm-hmm.
a kick to the head downward. Ah, so good.
Also, the diversity he has it is just his slide moves, and upgrading them to those kind of the super versions were always really nice.
Yeah, in
Oh,
fact, I did the one
hey.
that's not the slide. It's a shoulder rush that turns
Mhm.
into a axe combo.
Nice. Well, anyway, before we get too technical and lose all our listeners for jargon,
Fair, fair.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's about all I've been playing. So let's kind of get into it here. So Dave, tell me about your history with Mortal Kombat.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I would say I got mostly aware of it and started to really get into it the year the first movie came out, which was '95. And really, when you think about it, it was actually something kind of amazing that they were able to pump out basically the first 3 games in basically 4 years, wasn't it? Because wasn't it like '91 was when MK came out,
Was
'92 for
93?
MK2,
Was
and
it
then
two or
90
three?
I don't remember, and then 5 for MK3.
Yep.
But I was way too young when the first games came out, but by the time the movie came out, though, I was 10 years old, and the movie was purely going for my demographic. That's why it was PG-13,
Yep.
and I remember starting to get, really interested in it because, it was martial arts, it had ninjas, it had, also all these monsters and all this weirdness with magical powers. It was basically, an Asian themed fantasy, at least in the first game. It started getting crazier and crazier. And then I had friends at the time who, whose parents would let them play the game and they would bring in like strategy guides and books into the school. And I know my parents were, hesitant because, we had all of the Senate hearings and everything with
Right.
good old Joe Lieberman and all of them. And yes, there was cause for concern in that, yeah, the video game industry should have had a rating system probably by then. And, luckily it did lead to that. But I know my parents were kind of like, we kind of want to see what this is about first. We're not saying no, but we are also by no means saying yes. So when the movie finally came out on VHS, because my dad didn't want to spend money on it to go see it in the theater by himself. So
Missed opportunity.
he, yeah, he rented it from, I believe it was Schnucks, which we've mentioned before. And so, he's just like, look, buddy, I'm going to watch this tonight and then I will let you know tomorrow morning. And so he watched the movie. And, the very next day, I'm sitting with my brother and he just kind of walks in, sees Doug is sitting with me, and he's just kind of like, buddy, I'm sorry, this isn't something you can. And then I was a little defeated. But then later in the day, he kind of comes and pulls me aside. He goes, listen, I only said that because I didn't want your younger brother to feel, though, that were getting something special. He can't. You're fine to watch this. I have no problems with that. But your little brother, no, not so much. Okay. So tell you
Nice.
what, how about you and I later this week? We got the tape for like what, 4 days or something. Later this weekend, when your brother goes to bed at his bedtime, you and I will stay up late and we'll watch it together. And so that's how, that kind of got started. And then at the same time, my parents were great in that, they weren't kind of like the idiots that I had to deal with when working at Toys R Us. In that, up until a certain point when they felt we were finally old enough that they just didn't care anymore, okay, they got through childhood, they didn't blow off any fingers or toes or hurt any small animals or do anything terrible. We can let them decide what media they want to consume. But, my parents also found out, oh, Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't have the blood in it, you know? So technically, cheat codes were lost on my parents, however. And then they're also like, oh, and you have the option to turn it off on 2 and 3. Okay, David, we don't mind you having these games, but we'll just put it this way: if we ever come downstairs and that blood code is on, you're not going to be playing this game anymore. So I did do that for probably about like 3 years until I was like about 13. I humbly played Mortal Kombat in censored mode, and then I finally got to the point I'm like, who cares? But you know, compared that though to with the nonsense I had to deal with Toys R Us when like they were trying to buy Dead Space 2 for a 7-year-old, and I'm just like, well, there's trauma, years in the
Yeah.
making. So I'm glad my parents did that, but and then that's when I got really into it because like it's like I don't know if everyone's childhood like is like this, but mine went through like phases of what I was a fan of. So between like fourth and the middle of sixth grade, I was just Mortal Kombat everything. I consumed anything they put out. I had as many games as I could have, and I had the action figures, the crappy. Um, they weren't the GI Joe made ones. They were the ones that came after that. That were basically the
The rubber
same, but
band ones.
yeah, but just a little bit taller.
Mm-hmm.
And those are hot garbage, but yet I still have them, and they hold a deep place in my heart. although I don't think I would ever display them for anything. And also, what was special is that my uncle worked in film. And just to kind of feed my habit, he also, in between film jobs, worked at a place called Streamline Model Works.
Hmm.
And they were known for those, those kind of resin model kits that you could purchase out of the back of like gaming magazines. Look, like I'm literally working on here with a piece in my hand. It's like a character. It comes in pieces. You paint it and put it and glue it together. I'm working on Princess Zelda here right now, but he worked at the company that made these, and he helped sculpt a number of them, and so he was able to get me, and because it was no cost to him, because except for time. So when I was like 12 years old, he got me one of those Goros out of the back of that magazine.
Nice. I remember
And
that.
then years later, he also custom made for me. They had also made a very limited run of a Katana and Melina one. And very shortly after that, though, they lost the license
Mm.
and couldn't produce them anymore. But, he just basically called up the guy, hey, do you still have the molds for Katana and Melina? And made me a custom one. And that one was really cool because, it's kind of a dynamic pose, but it also, the masks on both of them can pop off, and then you can see, oh, there's an attractive woman under Katana's mask, and oh, there is a dreaded monster under Melina's face. And it just kind of spiraled out from there. You know, I was jealous of people who got to go see, the Mortal Kombat Live tour and had T-shirts and stuff. I
I
have
don't even
all of
remember
the.
that.
Yeah, that was a thing, but I never got to see it. And then I had all of the comics by Malibu Comics.
Oh,
And that was a quest to try and figure out because in '95, when I was starting to get into it, they had been out of print for like 2 years at that point already. So, it became kind of a quest to try and piece that collection together by just visiting all the different comic shops in the area. So it's just like anytime I would go to like a new like state on like a family vacation or something, I would always try and find like a comic shop in the area that might just have another issue
mm,
for that because this was way before eBay and any of that stuff. So it was just, putting it together myself. And
right.
I was able to get all but one doing that, but it wasn't until much later when eBay did finally come around. It's just like, it would be nice to have that final issue and have a full set. So I did. I did order that, and some of those are garbage.
Oh, of
Uh,
course.
yeah, yeah, because Malibu Comics is still around.
Right up there with Marvel and DC, right?
They were purchased by Marvel, but then like the rights are in such legal limbo they can't use the characters.
Nice.
So and I still have all that stuff. It still holds a great place in my heart. But I will say, around Mortal Kombat 4, that's when the series, and we'll reference this later in the podcast, but we'll probably refer to that as the beginning of the dark ages of the series. And that's when I noticed myself starting to lose interest. They had a very awkward transition into 3D, and it just didn't
Yeah.
work well. And by that time, also I had begun getting more interested in other games. That's when I started finding Nintendo, and I guess also maybe part of that was, you know, when you're that age though, and being able to consume a media like that is clearly designed for the older kids, you think you're kind of being allowed something you shouldn't,
Hmm.
and there's kind of an allure that comes with that, and so I think part of it was that, but I still always held like a special place in my heart for it. And then once Mortal Kombat 9 came out, it kind of revitalized the series, and it was just like, wow, I forgot how good this series could actually be. Mhm.
Yep.
But that's mostly my story. It just, it was a long, it was basically like a childhood fandom period that always had a special place in my heart. And while I still love it, am I going to go out and buy like all of the action figures and stuff for it now? No, but I do have a couple of those DC comic graphic novels that they made to like bridge the gap between the two series. And well, I'll definitely watch this new movie and such. And I still got Goro well on display on a shelf right in my gaming center in my living room.
Beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful.
Now, how about
So
your
my
history with it, Tyler?
so mine was actually a little different than yours.
Okay.
My dad got me into Mortal Kombat. So my family, there are some things they're super conservative about and very cautious about.
Hmm.
No problem with violence at all. Zero problem with violence. Like
Gotcha.
they let me watch The Matrix when it came out. That level of not caring about violence.
I got you. I got you.
So had it on the SNES. Now, mind you, no blood,
Hmm.
sweat,
Sweat,
but oh,
which
I
is
just
really gross if you think about it.
oh
It's just
yeah,
sweat.
oh yeah. Oh, what's the name of the oil fighter in Street Fighter 4?
Oh, Hakan, yes.
Hakan. Yeah, everyone's Hakan. Uh,
Nice.
Actually, if you think about it, Mortal Kombat X kind of looks like that too, with how much sweat they have.
Yep, yep. And it really didn't work too well. It just made characters look shiny. It only worked on like select costumes.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So played a ton of Mortal Kombat 1. Ton of Mortal
Mhm.
Kombat 1. Went to the theater to watch the Mortal Kombat movie. My parents took me to the theater without watching it ahead of time.
All right.
Again, I don't know how I lucked into that one, but and they took me to the theater to watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I guess that was punishment for something.
My dad took me to see that too. I have a
Um,
story about that. Continue first.
uh, I remember though, I was on vacation with my family, going to the I want to say it was Lake of the Ozarks, and we
Yeah.
were leaving this water park place, and I saw something that just blew my mind.
Hmm.
There's a Mortal Kombat 2. They had Mortal Kombat 2 arcade machine, and I looked at it and it's like Reptile's playable because I was one of those guys that had trained myself to get the double flawless fatality finish on
Yep.
the pit,
Yep.
just so you could fight him on the SNES version. And I was
Hmm.
like, awesome. Get Scorpion and Sub Zero's moves. Put my
Hmm.
quarters in. He plays
Nope.
weird. Well, why isn't he doing the spear? Where's the slide? Where's the ice ball?
Because they made him his own unique thing. Well,
Yep.
kind of.
He, right.
Yeah.
Um,
Unique,
but
but still a power swap.
yeah, I didn't pick up that game. The next one I would own Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, but I rented Mortal Kombat 3 several times before that from the Schnooks.
Hmm.
And one of the things I absolutely loved about the Mortal Kombat games, and it might have been the first series in fighting games to ever do this, I think it beat Street Fighter to this, was having those hidden boss fights.
Yeah.
That was just the coolest thing to me. And just learning how to unlock smoke in Mortal Kombat 3 was just the coolest thing.
Yeah, and that was one of the things they definitely did better. And then what was cool is also, they were trolls before trolling was really a thing. And so, they were smart to have like Reptile jump down, from the stage and be like, give you hints, and people are like, who is this guy? And this is before the internet, and you only had like the gaming magazine, so it was like a lot of playground talk, um, to figure out these things, like, and then in like Mortal Kombat 2 in the Lost Woods stage, like you'd see like characters peeking out from behind the trees, and it's just like, who's this gray ninja and who's this green female ninja?
Did you know that they would also pop out and give you clues on how to fight them?
Never really saw them do that because I didn't have Mortal Kombat 2 for very long before I got Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
So interesting on that one here. One of the clues was for Jade to fight her,
Yeah.
and evidently, again, I never owned Mortal Kombat 2, but I've looked this up since then.
Hmm.
The way you got to fight her was you had to win a match only using a certain type of kick.
Yeah.
So one of the clues was Chun Hu.
Oh,
I thought
perfect.
that was a nice because that was the rivalry. Everyone wanted Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat.
People still want that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know which I want more, to see Street Fighter characters done in the Mortal Kombat animation style, or to see, probably more so, Mortal Kombat characters done in the Street Fighter anime style.
I'm just afraid when they put Scorpion in a schoolgirl outfit in that.
No, no, no. Although it would be kind of fun. One of the things I did like from Street Fighter Cross Tekken is they had the crossover costumes
Hmm.
where the characters from the one series would dress up as characters from the other.
Nice. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that would be great.
Hmm. Uh,
Sub Zero dresses up as Colin.
who would Scorpion dress up as?
Mm. Dolls him because of Yoga Fire.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, yep.
Sonya would be Cammy. That's an easy one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Guile would be Ken.
Yep. Wait, no. They're
No,
the
I'm
same
sorry.
series.
No, what am I thinking of? No, you're right. Never mind.
Kyle and Jax, maybe.
Liu Kang would be Ryu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Mhm. I can see
but anyway,
Johnny Cage. Ken.
yeah, that'd be a decent one.
Yep.
But going back into my history here, picked up Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and I had that on the Super Nintendo, which
Hmm.
means it was missing Shiva, but it picked up several awesome characters.
I had the
It got
Genesis one as well, which had no Shiva, but oh, it was great. You know, you had so many characters.
my introduction to Ermac, to my boy
Mhm.
Rain with the round the world kick.
Yep.
Oh, that was the cheapest trick on the planet. You could win an
Oh,
entire match with just around the world kicks.
yep.
Oh,
Oh, I'm trying to think of. I also liked it. I know in the Genesis version, which I had, you could also, you could unlock playing as classic Smoke too.
mm-hmm.
By having a holding a button code. I think it was the same for the SNES
SNES.
version as
Yep.
well. And really, in retrospect, Human Smoke, I'm sorry, having the same moveset as just Scorpion was just the dumbest idea. But
So I found out why that was though.
yeah.
So for Mortal Kombat 2, they
Hmm.
only had so much RAM on it where they could do color swaps, but they didn't have enough RAM to add new movesets or new characters.
Okay.
So that's
Well, that
why,
makes sense.
yep. Now, why they didn't do Mortal Kombat 3, that's a whole nother story,
Hmm. Hmm.
but Cyber Smoke was awesome.
Yeah.
Cyber Smoke
But
was
still,
awesome.
it took like how many years for Smoke to finally get his own like moves that were actually based around Smoke?
Didn't happen until Mortal Kombat 9 for Human Smoke.
Well, yeah, and then there was that weirdness that was Deception.
Was that the one where it was kind of the ghostly body or the noob smoke?
The answer was both.
Okay.
Yep.
Ugh,
Yeah. Yeah, he was like made into like a cyber demon, and I'm just like, no.
no.
Hence, one of the other parts of the Dark Ages.
Yep. Um, played the ever loving whatever out of Ultimate Mortal Kombat
Stuffing.
3. Stuffing.
Stuffing. Yes.
And then got to Mortal Kombat 4, and I remember my parents going, we saw that it had this M rating on it, and we were not going to get it for your birthday. But then you realize we've been letting you play it for the past decade, so here you go.
Yep.
I was like, damage done. I'm I'm spoiled goods now.
Yep. Yep. Oh well.
And I will say this for Mortal Kombat 4. Not a great game, but
Mm-hmm.
introduced my favorite fatality out of all the games.
Yep.
Quan Chi's, where he rips off your leg and beats you to death with it, but he never ever stops. Just bam, 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 bam.
Blam.
Oh, that is to my day today is like that is so cool.
And then in the very next game, they introduce the worst one from the same character.
Oh, was that the neck one?
Yeah, where it gives you like the giraffe neck,
Oh. So I skipped most of the Dark Ages. I did pick up Mortal Kombat Armageddon
Mm-hmm.
on the Wii,
Mm-hmm. I've
and
actually been meaning to do that just for the extra character. I just haven't yet.
Chameleon with a K,
Okay, female
a
chameleon.
yeah, damn. Um, it was decent. I mean, it was better than a lot of the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
except for the fatalities. That was the one where they had your build
Yeah.
your own fatality, which
Oh, that was.
was code for we're lazy and we're not going to do it.
Or we're running out of time
Yeah.
because that was how it always seemed to be. Is that midway, before they went bankrupt, they always seemed to treat Mortal Kombat as like more of like a budget title. It seemed.
So I'm going to disagree with you slightly. They couldn't have run out of time for that because they had enough time to put the kart racer in there,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which
Okay,
surprisingly was not terrible.
yeah,
It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
yeah.
And then one of the hardest days of my life was April 2009. I had a choice to make, Dave. It was a tough choice.
Okay, I'm listening.
Portal 2 and Mortal Kombat 9 came out on the same day, and I
Oh
picked up
yes,
both at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Which did I play first?
Portal Two.
No, I went straight for Mortal Kombat. I was like, give me
Okay,
that scorpion life.
nice. I picked that up on midnight as well. Actually, I
And
just seeing everything go back to formula and just it was like a nostalgia overdrive. Really, Mortal Kombat 9, I think, single-handedly saved the series.
oh, 100%.
Um,
Because that was the first game where they actually built NetherRealm Studios, wasn't it? Warner Brothers bought
yes.
them up and
Hmm.
yep.
And I didn't. I got Mortal Kombat versus the DC universe for kind of the it's Mortal Kombat fighting the DC universe,
Right.
and
Heroic
and now that
brutality.
the same studio has done wonderful, wonderful things with the DC universe, but at the time, and I think if they were to have like a Mortal Kombat versus Injustice, because Injustice seems to go as far as you can into a T rating without going completely into, crazy
It
territory.
it walks the line.
Yep. So I could see them doing it again. Um, and it was fun for what it was, but I wasn't expecting the same thing because I'm just like, there's no way they're gonna let you like tear Superman's head off and have his spine dangling down. I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen.
No.
So that was it was fun for what it was. And in my opinion, also it had probably one of the best versions of Sub Zero to play as in the game because they actually gave him a teleport and made him like the fastest he's been in like the last decade.
Nice. So yeah, that's kind of been my history, and I've picked up every Mortal Kombat since then. Mortal Kombat 10, Mortal Kombat 11, and they
Yep.
played differently, but they've all been fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
I've particularly grown a big fan of Mortal Kombat 11. It's slower but more
Mhm.
methodical in terms of how you're
Yeah.
playing.
I liked it better than 10, I felt. 10 10, I felt, it tried to do the story from more of the Dark Ages type stuff, and it's just like, oh, really? But it did take some, ideas from it, and they made some cool characters, and they introduced some characters which now have been fleshed out enough in 11. It's just like I can't see the franchise without these characters. But it did introduce some kind of stinker characters. Like I thought Therator was just kind of the dumbest characters, and
Until he makes a Mad Max game.
yeah, and so, but 11 was just a step better in the right direction. Again, I felt it was new territory with the story. They really kind of fleshed out what they wanted to do. The villain was new, and she was interesting. And it was also like the first time we had a female villain who actually felt like she could stand toe to toe with all of the other major villains from the series.
Yep.
So that was cool. Um,
And really, got to hand it to NetherRealm Studios and Ed Boon. There is
yeah,
yet to be another fighting game company to make single player stories as good as a NetherRealm one.
yeah. And yeah, they really did set the standard for what a single player story mode for a fighting game has to be now.
Oh yeah,
They've been slowly kind of working up to that point, but I think 9 is where it finally
clicked.
they got it right. You could see, the workings and goings on in Mortal Kombat versus DC, but finally with 9 they were able to make it truly work.
Yep. Love this series. So let's do something a little
Mhm.
fun here. Let's kind of go into some of our favorites of the series here. I'm going to ask a couple questions. You just tell me what your favorites of each of these things are. Okay?
Okay.
I know the answer to the first one, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Favorite character?
Sub Zero is my favorite character.
Lin Kuei
Um,
Scum.
yeah, I know that's me. Um,
Shiai Ryu Scorpion.
but when I was younger, though, it was Reptile because I was always more attracted to like the monster characters in games. So, like in Street Fighter, I would always play as Blanca, and Reptile was one of the first kind of real like kind of monster characters, and I guess I liked him more than Baraka because he was kind of a lizard and a dinosaur at the same time.
Oh,
But
dinosaurs are
he was
cool.
also a ninja.
Yeah, ninja dinosaurs. That I mean, that's
Exactly.
all
That's
right.
all you had to say.
Favorite character that's not a ninja or a cyber ninja.
Oh, do- I guess we can't, include the female ninjas now either, can we?
Nope.
Really, I would love to see. They're doing more with him, and he's probably been. I the one that comes to mind immediately is probably Aaron Black. He's become kind of cool. I also really like Kenshi. He's probably one of the best things to come out of the Dark Ages.
I'd agree with that. Um,
Mm,
for me, it's Cassie Cage because I think she's the right blend between Johnny Cage's arrogance and Sonya Blade's kind of militaristic style. She's
hmm
disciplined but can still have fun, and
Yeah,
I just love her kind of playful attitude with everything.
yeah. I like her a lot better than Jackie actually in the new games. Jackie
Yeah,
just seems to be kind of like a female version of her dad at times.
yeah, she's the Captain Falcon to his Ganondorf.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yep. Um, favorite Mortal Kombat game of the original trilogy,
The original trilogy. Ooh. Um,
excluding Mortal Kombat trilogy because that's cheating.
yeah. I guess the one though I probably played the most was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And I've got some memories with that one. that was the one where they like were finally with my brother. It's just like, hey, you're old enough now too, you know. After and so that was the one, him and I would play together, and also just there'd like be times when like mom would stop in. Actually, it's funny. She stopped in your old college and high school workplace one
Oh,
time,
the
way
bookstore.
back in the day, and came out and she had handed me like a Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 like pocket guide.
I
That she
had
had just
that.
found. What?
I had that too.
Yeah. So she's just like, I found this in there. Thought of you. Here you go. Yay!
I remember though that the little tiny one didn't have the cheat codes for the cool stuff, cooler stuff, and I forget what the other third menu was called. Uh,
More coolest stuff.
no, I think it was secret menu, cool stuff, and cooler stuff. But
Yeah, I think you're right.
so the small one didn't have it, but I had, someone I sat next to in fifth grade had the large one
Mhm.
that had it. So I literally just cut a piece of paper, wrote them down, and taped it into the book.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
This
Uh,
back cover doesn't have an advertisement on it. Right.
I think this one did, if memory serves me correctly. So I had to actually, but it's great memories there.
Yeah.
Favorite Mortal Kombat game of the Dark Timeline?
Oh, the dark timeline. Yeah. Um, I would probably say, oh god, as my brother likes to has described it one time. I one time posed a question to him. Hey, Doug, what movie would you rather watch? Teeth or Splice? Oh, thanks, David. That's like asking me which turd I want to lick. So I would probably pick Deception, actually. Um, I actually kind of picked that one up on a whim because I had heard about the noob smoke mechanic, and
Hmm.
I kind of wanted to see how that worked.
Wasn't it just two
And
different fighting styles where they switched the characters?
exactly,
Yeah.
it wasn't great, but
For me, I if it would have to be the beginning of the Dark Timeline, Mortal Kombat 4, because that was
mm,
before they added too many wacky characters. I mean, trust me, there was bad characters in Mortal Kombat 4.
oh yeah,
Jared, uh,
Jarek, yeah, can't believe Great Value Kano is what they should have called him.
this isn't a brutality. This is a fatality.
Don't go away.
Although,
Oh man,
and then it had Reiko.
yep. Reiko was a bit crap. So was Kai, because we've heard about him so
Oh,
much since then. Okay,
Kai.
here's my question for you then. Which is the worst character, for you? And I imagine it's going to come from the dark timeline.
Oh, 100%. Probably Cobra.
Cobra's a pretty easy target. I can't believe it's not Ken Masters. Yeah.
Right. Well, so I want you to imagine something, Dave, for a quick second here.
Okay.
This is the dark timeline of Billy Zabka's character from the Karate Kid when he lost that tournament and then went
Yeah.
to the dark side.
Nice.
Because
Um,
he's Cobra Kai.
oh yeah. I'm trying to think because there's so many winners in that category. I
Uh,
gotta admit, in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I could give I could give less than a crap for the two like main leads that they came for that game, the Taven and Dagon.
oh yeah, they don't even feel like they belong to Mortal Kombat. They feel like failed D&D characters that someone decided to re-roll after they rolled those.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, they're a brother of Rain, and stuff like that. I'm like, this is hot garbage. These guys are a steaming
Ugh.
pile of crap. And among many. And I could even tolerate some of the more jokey characters before I could tolerate them. They were just uninspired. And the thing was, there were plenty of uninspired characters in that time period. It's just like they have tried so hard to get like another major black representative in that series. They were like, okay, we got Kai. He sucks. Okay, well, we got Darius. He sucks. Okay, fine, screw it. Cyrax is black now. Okay, that works.
Yeah. Uh, Garrus isn't terrible in Mortal Kombat 11 for black representation.
Hmm?
Garrus,
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a cool character, but he's also like a living weapon. But
this is
yeah,
true. This is true.
he was a good one. And that's not to say that they now will poke fun at themselves about some of their bad decisions as well. Like they will fully admit they hate the character Su Hao. Just
Doesn't isn't that the one Aaron Black just rolls the head of?
yeah, they poke fun at it. Yeah, he just rolls the head of him out of the bag, and I'm like, yep, this character's dead.
Yep. All right.
Yep, he was pretty terrible. They tried to make him Chinese Jax, and we got like meat and other dumb stuff like
Mocap.
Blaze, mocap. Oh god.
Mocap, listeners, if you did not know, is the motion capture character from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
It's a
it
dude with
was
a
bad.
bunch of balls on him.
Yeah, literally balls. And no, he it was a kind of a nod to their motion capture actor and the original guy, Daniel Pacino, who I believe played Raiden in the original games. But it's one thing to have like an homage, but it's another thing to have a terrible homage.
Yeah.
So they could have done so much more. But again, though, there have been characters, and we were talking about this before the podcast, though, who I feel they have kind of looked at, and it's like they didn't do great in their original game, but they have potential. So let's take them back to the drawing board a bit and flesh them out to make them something that's actually kind of cool. So, I mean, we've had that with Quan Chi. We've had that
Mm-hmm.
with Kenshi as well.
Yep.
Um, they've been trying to do that a lot with Tanya. I still don't know how big a fan I am of that character, though.
I loved her in Mortal Kombat 4, but since then,
Hmm.
not so much.
Yeah, but I do know that she has her fans.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? And I do kind of wish that with Frost, that was one of the recent example who I felt MK11 did a lot of justice to. She
Mm-hmm.
was uninteresting as being this, just kind of it's female Sub Zero, but as the story has gone on, they've kind of made it that she's kind of this scheming, mischievous. I want to take over the Lin Kuei clan, and in Mortal Kombat 11, they finally gave her like the ultimate opportunity to do so, and she actually became a cyber ninja. And it's just like you are 1,000 times more interesting as that than you were in all previous games.
100% agree.
Hmm.
You know who didn't do well with the redesign? Reiko,
No, no.
where he went from Maroon Ninja to my name is S&M Daddy.
Yep. Great value, Shao Kahn. That's one character I'm just like, stop, stop. Stop
I
trying
just
to make Reiko happen. It's not going to happen.
I just
And
expected
anyway,
him to. Sorry,
the
go ahead.
Japanese think he's funny as hell because he's got a woman's name in their native tongue.
The I could just imagine like if he was in a new game, where they do the quips coming on, he just walks
Mhm.
up. The safe word is pumpernickel.
One day it'll be my helmet. Uh, and luckily, it also just seems kind of like though with some of those characters that they don't want. They kind of admit like, okay, that was a dumb thing. Let's throw them in the background for a laugh or a nod and a wink here. Like
Hmm.
we were talking about, Su Hao. He's basically an opening scene, opening fight joke. And then
Right.
you had uninspired characters like Lee May, who I think is now just kind of a background character to story mode of 10. Bo Raicho was too. I did like that they made him a DLC character, and I think they improved upon him a bit because he was just like way too much of a gross out character
I mean, he still
in
is,
five,
but
six,
he
and
did
seven.
better.
Yeah, I mean he's supposed to be this great Shaolin master, who trained Liu Kang, and then he's farting and vomiting on people.
Yeah. Let's see here. Favorite fatality.
Ooh, um, you know, Man, that's kind of tough because there have been a lot of great ones, and the only thing is they're also getting like more and more gruesome as the graphics just get better. And so some of
Yeah.
them nowadays it's just like, oh, oh, that is hard to look at. Um, but I guess like the ones that I thought the coolest, I did like in the original Mortal Kombat one, I didn't think it made much sense for Sub Zero to tear a person's head off because I'm like, his ability is ice. Why is he not
Right.
using his ice powers? I mean, Scorpion uses his fire powers, which really they didn't even reference except the fact that for that fatality, it's like, oh, he's a ghost who can breathe fire on people. So, but when in Mortal Kombat 2, though, they finally had like the deep freeze fatality where he would like shoot enough ice blasts, it was like, yo, 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 and then they would basically be like a condensed solid block, and then you could go up and just shatter them. And I think those have been kind of my favorite ever since, like any of the plays on them.
So you know that was in Mortal Kombat 1, right?
I'm sorry.
In the Super Nintendo version, they don't have the head spine rip out fatality. They replaced it with one where Sub Zero freezes you, jumps over, back punch, shatters.
Hmm. Okay, I got you. Well, I got my first exposure to it in Mortal Kombat 2. I wasn't
Fair
good
enough.
at pulling off fatalities until later. These
Uh,
button combinations are hard.
Especially when they included up, because then your character would jump.
Oh, yep. And you had to hold block, and then it's just like also if like, oh, but it needs the block button in the actual commands.
Yeah.
Are you midway?
All right. My favorite, I told you, was the leg. But if I had to pick a
Mm-hmm.
second one, the wishbone.
Noob say bots.
Uh huh. That
Oh,
is
that was pretty.
when Noob creates a clone. They each go to
Mm-hmm.
each side, pull, grab them from the legs, and pull like a wishbone,
Mm-hmm.
and then each
Okay,
hold up a
what
side.
was the most unsettling for you though? I can answer mine immediately, and it's pretty much any that they've given Scarlet. But there was the one in Mortal Kombat 9 where basically she uses like the blood vines to kind of lift you up. She would get up under you and then basically slash the other player's throat and then just bathe in it. And it's just like, oh my god, that is awful.
Are we including brutalities in this?
Sure.
Believe it was Cassie Cage's, and I can't remember if it was in X or 11, where
Hmm.
she does her nut punch and punches you
Yeah.
so hard you cough up your ball. No, your eyes pop out.
Oh, great, nice.
Oh,
Okay, okay. I got a question then.
sure.
There have been a couple of them. Your favorite of the spin-off games?
Buddy. Um, So I'll be honest, I haven't played many of them. It'd probably be Shaolin Monks, the little I played of it.
Hmm.
Um,
I would say that's the same for me too. Me and Doug played through that all together, and it was one of the few times it was just actually like, oh, Mortal Kombat's kind of cool again. It's just like it seems to only be do really well when you know they are touching upon the original three games.
if I was gonna cheat a little bit for one I actually played more,
Hmm.
it would be the Grid.
Oh yeah, I
S-
remember that.
So the Grid was an arcade game, which was basically like a uh, deathmatch TV show where you're going around trying to kill your opponents there. And on the arcade, you can enter a code to play as Scorpion or Sub Zero. And I remember
And
we went to Galloping Ghost in Chicago, and I saw it.
wasn't Noob Bot playable also?
I think
I might
so.
be misremembering.
I I think it was just Scorpion and Sub Zero, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Uh, but I remember taking a picture and tweeting at Ed Boon, and
Hmm.
I remember losing my mind when he retweeted it.
Yep. And it was like, yeah, I remember that because he was like, we were all there, and then you're just like, "Ugly," loud expletive in the middle of this arcade, and then we're like, "What is wrong with you?" And you showed us, and it's Ed Boon, with your tweet, and it's just like, "Yeah, good game." Yeah.
Oh, he is Ed Boon. Can we just take a moment here to appreciate how Ed Boon is the greatest troll on the planet?
Oh, he is. Oh, he's so good. And it's always just like whenever he's like introducing new characters or something,
Hmm.
he's always so good at only giving you the smallest bit of information so that everything turns into almost like an esoteric like puzzle to figure it out.
If memory serves me correctly, one of my favorite trolls he did was for Mortal Kombat 11 before they actually added this character.
Hmm.
He made a troll statement about saying, "Hell yeah! In this next update, we're going to add Melina
Oh yeah, and they did, but not in the
as a
way anybody.
friendship."
Yep. Oh, that was a good one. I remember when in like Injustice came out, he was announcing like the DLC characters, and he almost made it like a augmented reality game when he was giving out clues for Zatanna.
Hmm.
People were just trying to figure out like what does he mean, and he was like referencing like song lyrics to like "Do you believe in magic?" And then he like referenced another song, and it was like backwards, and so people were finally able to put it together. Magic backwards. Oh, because Zatanna says her spells
Just
backwards. That's
backwards. Yep.
the thing, yeah.
All right. Favorite friendship.
Oh, those have gotten good recently. But I think for me though was also because I wanted one. But in Mortal Kombat 2, when they first introduced it, Sub Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile all at the same one, and it was buy like a Sub Zero doll,
Uh huh.
and they would pull like a little mini one, and then like yeah, buy a Sub Zero doll, and it's just like I want one so bad. So, but in like the recent ones though have been absolutely hysterical.
Hmm.
It's just so funny how they've also animated like the kind of like childish glee of these like poses. And so like, Sub Zero making ice cream treats. It's just he does the little dance first, yeah, and runs off. And it's like, what the hell? Uh
I think my favorite from that one is one of the guest characters, Robocops.
oh, the robot.
Yeah, where he's doing the dance with like the VHS filter. And my
Oh yeah.
favorite little touch on that is he adds a gold chain, which
Hmm.
is just a giant OCP symbol. Oh,
Uh
so good.
I do have to admit though, Mortal Kombat is one though where I am getting very tired
Of the
of the
guest characters.
guest. That has been my one kind. And on the one hand, I know people are like, well, then don't buy them. And I'm just like, no, because that makes it like a neutered version of the game for me. But I also feel it's just like you've got a great cast of characters you could still pull from. And many that I've said, you could go back to and adjust them and make them cool again. I mean, they started it with Freddy Krueger and then they just went freaking berserk with every other game. It's like it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I
Hmm.
know that the big reason they do it is because money, but at the same time, it's just like, then why don't you guys just make like that crazy, like horror video game character thing that we made up a couple
Yep.
podcasts ago, rather than, Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat. I don't need Alien and Predator in it. I didn't need Freddy Krueger. I don't need Leatherface and Jason. And it just, that's not the point of the game necessarily, or at least it wasn't originally.
So, who is your least favorite guest character?
Alien and Predator easily. Every
Really?
other one, like the horror icons, it's just kind of like, I kind of get it. And I've mentioned this privately to you guys for years. I have a real hard time sometimes, depending on the story, when they try and mix science fiction and fantasy into the same one. I feel like the two are like oil and water, and if you're gonna mix them, you need like a bunch of stuff else to make like delicious salad dressing as opposed to just garbage.
Right.
And so Mortal Kombat has done pretty good with the sci-fi stuff. It's like always been like bodily enhancements. It's never been, they've only had one truly completely robotic character, and that was Triborg.
Yeah.
And so, and even then, it made more sense. And so I'm more okay with that. But then when they put like aliens in the game, I'm just like, no, those are the ones that take me completely out of the realm of plausibility with this. So, I was okay with like Freddy Krueger because it's just like, oh, well, he's like a fantasy character, as is Jason and them. But then it's just like the others, it's like, no, absolutely not.
So, for me, for the least favorite, I'm more forgiving for characters like the Alien Predator because they have a horror element to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll even be more forgiving for sci-fi characters like Robocop and the Terminator, because that
Mm-hmm.
kind of matches nicely with the Cyberlink way.
Yeah.
The one that I do not understand why on God's green earth is in this game is
Mm-hmm.
Rambo.
Well,
Not
I
a
do
horror
remember.
character.
Yeah. Well, I know Boone said he was just like, yeah, we wanted to make sure we had every 80s action star and character in the game. And I'm like, all right, fine. I guess Rambo makes the most sense because Stallone wasn't in like like an AVP or anything like that, really.
Yeah,
So,
but that was the one for me that was just like, really?
yeah. I mean, it's cool that they actually got Stallone to do, it. They couldn't get Arnold to, voice
I
the
mean,
Terminator.
they even got the original Peter. I forget his
Peter
full name.
Welker, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter Welker for
Of
RoboCop.
course, I don't think he's really, I don't think there's too many, like companies, calling him up. I think he retired from acting and is mostly, I believe he's a professor of art now. So,
I still hold that RoboCop may be in fact one of the greatest movies ever made.
it's a great popcorn movie, that's for
It I could watch that on. I could watch that once a week for the rest of my life and never get tired of it.
sure. Like the time we watched it and Demolition Man all in one evening.
Demolition
as our
Man.
brains just slowly dribbled out of our ear.
Demolition Man is like it's like a fine wine. It just gets better with age.
Well, it gets better with something.
That's who they need in. Uh, they need Simon Phoenix from Demolition Man.
Oh gosh, how
Uh,
90s were those names?
that was very 90s.
Yep.
Ladies
Uh,
and gentlemen, if you have not watched Demolition Man, get off your butts. I'm even going to
just
say, stop this podcast after you like and subscribe and leave a comment. Uh, but yeah, just go watch it. Just go watch it now.
uh,
It
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 is
is,
great.
and all right. So we're going to end this episode, I think. Well, anything else you want to cover with Mortal Kombat before I go on my complete side tirade here?
Man, I think we've covered a lot. I think we both have like similar opinions. The original trilogy was great, with trilogy being the trilogy, the game being like a nice cherry on top of that. And then we did have like kind of like a dark ages period of the games where they were trying to take themselves seriously. They had a terrible transition to 3D. It's like they couldn't decide whether they wanted to be like their classic selves or if they wanted to try and be like Soul Calibur. And so they tried to do like a crappy mishmash between the two that just didn't ever work. It's
You got to commit.
Yeah. And so finally, by the time Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe came around, which I know objectively is a terrible game, but I do say though that it does start showing the signs of what Mortal Kombat was going to transition into. I think finally, though, with basically Warner Brothers buying them out and saying you have creative freedom, you know, it unleashed the beast, and now we're
Hmm.
kind of in like a Mortal Kombat renaissance. I'm excited to see where the story is going to go next because you did a great analogy earlier before the podcast. With all of the time travel controlling shenanigans with Chronica, you said that everything and nothing is canon now.
Yep.
So, and they even kind of touch upon that in 11 because you start seeing all of the alternate timeline. So you actually see bits from the original timeline where you got stupid stuff like Zombie Liu Kang, and then you see like the Mortal Kombat versus DC timeline. So it's like they actually did touch upon these things.
Hmm.
So I'm just seeing though, it's just like, well, now like the keeper of time is dead. What happens now? So I'm wondering though, and I hope they don't do this. I hope they don't pull like a Soul Calibur 5, and it's just like, well, we're done with all the old characters. Now here's all the new ones. Your new ones are kind of hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah. I will say that they've done a decent job with like the new ones from like 10 and 11.
Yeah,
Uh,
and onwards, and even they've also gone back to some, and they're like, okay, we can improve this character, but then it's just like and there haven't been many, knock on wood, like the new ones they introduced. But even then, some of these new ones, it's just like they're based off of rumors from back in the playground days. Like
mhm.
Scarlet. That was like a error, and they just did the same thing they did with Ermac. They're like, well,
Ermac,
fine,
yep.
we'll make a red ninja, and now they've made her more interesting, and you're just like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then we had Farah and Tor, and I'm just kind of like,
I
why
There's
do
a
you
reason they
guys
didn't
look
make
like
it into 11.
rejects? Well, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say there's a reason they didn't make it into 11.
Yeah, they look like rejects from Total Recall, is what they look like.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
and
I was gonna say they did like a great job with like Cole Khan and Devora.
oh yeah, Devora
Um,
is a great, you know, Devora is like a great new kind of filling the reptile mold. I would, in a
yeah,
model, I would say. Reptile was always like Shang Tsung's bodyguard and the one hiding in the shadows. Devora is the new one for Kotal Khan when she's not being, a
Duplicitous
terrible.
at best.
Exactly.
So there's just one last thing, and this is for Ed Boon. Ed Boon, I hope you're listening. First off, hi. Thank you for
I
everything you've done. You,
you made most of our
oh,
you made our
chef
childhood
kiss.
years wonderful.
And a little messed up, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I have just one favor to ask. Okay, the next time you make a
I might
Mortal
have
Kombat, what?
I might have one as well.
All right, next time you make a Mortal Kombat game, stop making Rain DLC. Just give it to me from the get go. Okay, I want to round the world kick him with him from the get go. He is cool. He is a cool character. He's not just a pun to me. I get it. Oh, Purple Rain, and he's a prince. His move set is legit. Slight telekinesis with the water, round the world kick. He is cool. Treat him as such. Give him his moment in the sun. Don't make me pay $6 for him again.
That is one thing I did like though, because remember Rain's original that water-based telepathic move, it didn't make any friggin' sense in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they improved it in MK9, you're like, that makes more sense. He can control the water. You
Yep.
know, he's not actually telepathic necessarily. So
Oh.
that's another thing. They've made him not really a joke. Okay, Mr. Boone, if you're listening, hello, uh, big fan. You made my fourth through sixth grade years, and tell co-creator John Tobias I said hi. Because him being an illustrator and a comic artist, I always thought was cool too. Um, Guest characters, stop it. I, I'm I'm asking you, stop it. You have so many characters that are cool by themselves, or characters that you could make cool with just a few little adjustments. I mean, I would love to see what your new Mortal Kombat 11 interpretation of Nitara would be. I would love to see, your Mortal Kombat 11 interpretation of Havoc would be. You know,
Do you think he can
Kira,
save?
wasn't that just interesting? I would like to see, another female character kind of come back. She was cool. Um, but I don't need Alien versus Predator in my Mortal Kombat. That's like getting a turd in my alphabet soup. It just shouldn't be there. Okay.
I would liken it more to toasted ravioli and pudding. Pudding and toasted ravioli, they are fantastic. Don't belong together.
Yep.
Now, Dave,
Some of our listeners are like, "What is a toasted ravioli?"
it is a
It's
gift from the gods. It
it is a
is,
gift from the gods from the Midwest, and you will like it, like crab
imagine,
rangoon and Provel cheese.
yeah. Well,
Hmm.
Provel, meh.
You shut your mouth. I could bathe in that crap. It's wonderful.
Provolone or mozzarella? Choose.
Uh, put put those hands together.
Dave, I have one
uh,
last question for you for Mr. Boone here.
okay, yes.
Do you think that Mr. Boone can save Cobra?
Ooh, you know, they were able to save Frost, who I thought was all but, you know, gonna be just hot garbage. I think there's a possibility for everything. There's even other characters. I'm like, bring back those two Oni that you had in the Dark Ages, but make them more
Draman?
like, yeah, Draman and Moloch, but make them actually look more like Japanese creatures, as opposed to just weirdness.
Moloch always reminded me of the DC superhero Etrigan.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, that, yeah, yep, I could see that.
this is another wonderful episode of Syrup Shots Gaming, guys. We're not signing off quite yet. I'm just ending the gaming portion because I'm going to go on a little tirade here.
Oh, geez.
You've got me on a Demolition Man tirade for a moment,
I didn't do it.
but again, Mr. Boone, if you happen to be watching, we, in all sincerity, love these games. They have been an integral part of our childhood. Keep making them awesome.
hmm
So,
And, Injustice 3, I'd just like some news, please, because those games are awesome too.
mhm.
Don't bring back War Gods, though. Don't bring back War Gods.
War Gods.
That was their first attempt at a 3D fighting game. We don't like to talk about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's my tirade. Well,
Okay. Uh-oh.
so you were familiar with Demolition Man, right?
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone gets framed for blowing up a bunch of kids that were already dead,
Yeah.
and gets
By
frozen
Wesley Snipes.
by Wesley Snipes, aka Simon Phoenix, in this movie, which is just rocking that gold hair.
hmm
He mentions though how he has a wife and daughter several times.
I see where
Am I the only person who truly believes that Sandra Bullock is his daughter, but neither of them realize it? And he slept with his daughter, or at least kissed her. They tried to have sex, but it was that weird cerebro thing.
and she was laughing at him about the three seashells.
The three seashells.
That movie just boggles my mind with dumb stuff. That did cross my mind. But if it was long enough for like the rookie on the squad to become an older man, I think his daughter would have to be in like her 50s, and Sandra Bullock is clearly not.
They say specifically in the movie that it's been 30 years.
Oh. Well, if he was like 7, I don't know. Sandra doesn't look 37.
But
Well,
it's the
then again.
future.
Oh, yeah.
I
Shut
mean,
up, Tyler.
they have solved so many
Yeah,
things, Dave. They solved
you
the
wait
Great
for
Restaurant War.
everything friggin' Taco Bell.
Everything is Taco Bell.
You know what's even funnier is that um, in the international version, it's Pizza Hut. Everything is Pizza Hut.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Things I learn.
hmm
So yeah,
Well,
that's my theory. You can put that in with Tyler's crazy theories that he loves, with Red beating the snot out of Blue's Raticate so bad that he killed it.
uh, no, the Cinemassacre guys a couple years ago did like a Demolition Man review, and they brought that up, but as well as pointing out that every in the international version, it's Pizza Hut, not Taco Bell.
Hmm. Good to know.
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
can't remember. I can't remember the last time I've had Pizza Hut.
We don't even have a Pizza Hut anymore in town.
I heard that. I don't think
Yep.
I have a Pizza Hut around me either.
Maybe they fell victim to coronavirus.
Which is surprise. Well, I guess they had competition because everything's delivery now.
Yeah.
Some places have are multiple restaurants, like that stupid wing place.
hmm Uh,
But
and I know it killed, I believe, Chuck E. Cheese. I know for a while they were trying to survive the pandemic by they were posing on Grubhub as Pasquale's Pizza. So people
mhm.
would buy their pizzas. No one goes to Chuck E. Cheese for the pizza. They go for, arcade games and, ball pits and stuff.
So in the before times, BT,
Yeah. hmm
do you know what Chuck E. Cheese started serving?
No.
They started serving wine because they knew there was too many moms there who didn't want to be there, or dads. You can have a wino dad.
All right, Mom and Dad, we can hear the rage scream in your brain rattling around, so use this to suppress it. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
You know it's bad when a parent is sitting there going, "I wish this was Five Nights at Freddy's, because death would be better."
See, now I have memories before even the before time. So some people who remembers that Chuck E. Cheese's used to be Showbiz Pizza at some locations first.
I vaguely remember that, and I've
Hmm.
got a tangent to go off of this after that, but yeah,
Okay.
I vaguely remember that.
Hmm.
Do you remember the Discovery Zone?
I was thinking of the Doug had like two birthday parties at the Discovery Zone.
So I
Uh,
don't know why, but I was always excited to go there and see the freaking robot.
I just the most I heard about that recently was a guy tried to sell one of those robots on Pawn Star.
Really?
Yeah, and it was like a remote control thing, and it had like a microphone that was
Mm-hmm.
like two way. So like the kids would go up and talk to him, and he could hear them, and he's like, "Oh, a kid's in front of me," and then
And
would
talk
talk
back.
back. Yeah,
But it can only do it for like 5 minutes at a time because it had to recharge.
I think so.
Okay, complete side tangent here. This is the next thing
Yeah.
I want, Dave. I
Okay.
want one of those Johnny Five figures like they had in Short Circuit 2.
Your obsession with that movie greatly concerns me because that
Which one, the first or the second?
you made me watch both. Listeners, what you don't know is that for a good long time, when all of us still lived in the same centralized area before life and responsibilities took us elsewhere, we would routinely meet up at least once or twice a month to have a bad movie night. And that is still one of the many things that we will do when we all do meet up still. I believe the last one we watched was the 90s classic starring Shaquille O'Neal, Steel. And but one of the ones though was we watched Howard the Duck. We watched
Deathbed, the bed that
Stay
eats.
Tuned, Mom and Dad Save the Universe or something.
Yep.
Jingle All the Way and Jingle All the Way 2, which
Oh,
we couldn't
that
even
second one
finish.
hurt.
Yeah, that literally gave us cancer. And the fact that your wife went later and finished it, I was just like, how?
I think secretly she's an alcoholic.
Because I was
Uh,
of the opinion it's just like, Jingle All the Way 2, have all of my fingernails and toenails forcibly torn out. Options.
Real fast here, just so no one actually thinks this. My wife is not an alcoholic. Just joke, but
Yeah.
I don't
Actually,
anything.
honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen your wife have a drink.
She, she will do wine coolers occasionally.
I gotcha.
Um, but yeah, no short circuit. Just oh, what's not to love? The Three Stooges references, the fact that they have a white dude playing a Indian guy, in actual country India because we're not racist here, but they were
Mm-hmm.
evidently.
Oh gosh.
In
Yeah.
fact,
Yes, because
the
his career has been great choices between that and being one of the Koopa brothers in Super Mario Brothers the movie.
do you know the third movie he was in?
No.
He was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off as one of the guys that stole the car when they left it at the garage.
Nice. Uh,
Just so 1 out of 3.
and then he was never seen from or heard from again.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
think
the
that was
mafia
most.
from India got a hold of him, I'm guessing.
I mean, that was most people after Mario Brothers movie.
Hmm.
But no, I want that short circuit model. I want it, Dave.
I'm not building it for you.
No, I know. I'm gonna find it though. It will be mine, and it will be on a shelf behind me one day, where you can see it
Uh,
in all its splendor.
boo. Uh,
That movie
I
is
remember
gold.
one time though when we were at a convention, they had a model Metal Gear Rex, and you even asked me, "Hey Dave, for my birthday, if I bought the model kit, would you build and paint it for me?" Uh, about that. What? Um, I happen to have this bag here with that purchase for myself in it. And then I think you looked around, and you're like, "Dang, that was the only one at the convention."
Yeah. Uh, so I think that's
But
when
then
I
I
got
got you
my
a portal gun
masterpiece Star Wars.
instead.
I'm sorry, what?
What? I got you a portal gun instead.
That is true. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, be safe, be kind, go watch Short Circuit and Demolition Man and Short Circuit 2 because
Oh,
you,
no, don't do it.
but there's a heist and he gets to be gold plated at the end and they have a great
Uh,
montage to the song I Need a Hero
oh,
while he's hang gliding.
don't you know they make you watch Short Circuit on rerun constantly in one of the lesser hells? You know, because actually there's another hell that they don't tell you about called Heck. That's where they just send rude people. And that's one of the punishments, just constant.
Dave, it's not the whole movie, just all the scenes with Steve Gutenberg.
Oh, jeez. I was about to
But
say because I don't think his career survived that movie.
I'm trying to think what else he's been in.
Aside from
No,
a Family Guy joke here and there, not much.
actually, I think I saw online that he's doing that service where you can pay money for celebrities to record a little video. No, that's right. That's right, because they did it on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, where he recorded a
Oh,
video.
oh, wow.
Uh,
I don't know what to think about that. All right.
I wonder if the actor who played the Indian guy who's not actually Indian does that too.
Oh, jeez.
But until next time,
I
ladies and
get one of
gentlemen,
those on my birthday from that guy. I'm gonna be. I can't say that. Where I'm gonna be ticked off.
or impressed, huh?
No,
Celebrity.
celebrity. We use air quotes for that highly.
Well, as much as celebrity is like anyone from Jersey Shore or anything.
Oh, jeez.
The D
I think it
minus
would actually
list.
prefer Jersey Shore. Yeah, let me know how the situation is doing now that he's what, probably 40.
I think one of the girls is now a emergency medic, like in an ambulance.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Ugh,
I remind me never to have a medical emergency in the Jersey Shore.
exactly. Oh well.
Oh well. But until next time, be safe, be kind, bottoms up.